call to order. Forest Park Council work session. And we have two items below the line. The first of those being amending Chapter 34, Employee Fringe Benefits. Councilwoman Urban.
It's basically a house cleaning item to update minor changes in a couple things in contracts on fringe benefits, on vacation carryover, and on the longevity program. So we get these minor changes from time to time.
Yeah, the purpose of the of changing the vacation mainly for this year is because with COVID last year and the fact that we were closed down a lot and various folks were doing a lot of extra duties, different places, but also the building was closed. We ended up with a few folks who had the inability, because you couldn't really go anywhere, to take their vacations. And so rather than penalize them,
basically blown up.
Sorry. Rather than penalize them for working through the pandemic, we want to be able to allow them to carry over a little bit of vacation more than normal, allow them to take it this year based on our discretion. So that's the real reason for that one. The other one is mainly just a cleanup. It's basically an IRA. It talks about longevity payments into IRAs, and we don't make those types of payments into IRAs. We pay them directly to the employees. People, they can in fact defer them if they want, but not into an individual IRA.
Okay, anybody got any other comments and or questions on that? Hearing none, we will go to item number 2 below the line on the work session, that being public rights of way fees. Mr. Sylvester.
Yes, this also is a yearly event that takes place. I spoke with Dave on the follow-up with it, and they've received information on the billing for this 2021 year. So it's a standard flow of business with the right of way, to my understanding, and it's a yearly process. So the fees are shown for this 2021 year, and that information that gets sent out to the utility companies for process.
Okay, anything to add on to that? Anybody or Don?
Well, just Reggie did a great job, and the main thing I think for a lot of folks is that these are fees for utility companies. They're not our stormwater fees. There were some of the questions that some folks had asked, and there's nothing really that City Council can do with these fees. They're set through a formula through state statute. So this is based on the information that we have. Our city ship it up, run it through the formula, and the fees are the fees. So there's not much. In fact, there is no discretion on City Council's part as to how we calculate these things. It's a state standard to be fair for all utilities, and but it is just for utilities who work in the right of way.
Okay, anybody else? Some questions? Okay. There are no other items on the agenda. Ms. Clark, we're glad to see you back. Hope you're feeling better. Mr. Brown, same to you.
Yes.
Good. So I take it you two are none the worse for the wear. Probably still a little tired, I guess. Yeah. Well, okay. We have about 8 minutes. Don, you got anything for the good of the order while we're waiting?
Not really too much. We are still, just to update everyone, we did do the well, not us, but Hamilton County did use the senior center last week or 2 weeks ago, last week, whatever it was, to give vaccines to the 80-year-old group. And so that was a tremendous success. There were a lot of folks who took advantage of that. We wish we had more shots and more opportunity. And it was, again, just as they're trying to do through the entire county, reservations only. But there were still some, we were able to get some folks, when people didn't show up, they were able to get other folks in who on a moment's notice. So that was a good thing. And we're trying to work with the county to become a vaccine distribution site. There aren't really any planned by the county right now to be in northern Hamilton County. And we hope to be that site. We're close to 275. And we want it to be very convenient for our citizens to be able to take advantage of the vaccines as they become available. A lot of cities have, CVS's and Kroger's and Walgreens, and they little clinics and all those little things that they're going to start using to distribute the vaccine. And we really don't have that here. So we're hoping to get a permanent, or at least a semi-permanent location here from the county to distribute vaccines to the region, but mainly as a convenience for our folks here. Our firemen took their last vaccine. Again, these are most of the questions we get are, vaccine related a lot of times. The firemen just took their second dose. They all came through it just fine. They did experience some of the little symptoms that people talk about, a couple of them, but by and large, they all recommend it, and hope that everybody else gets vaccinated. They really had no issues with it. And our police have a few of our police department, about 10 of them have so far been vaccinated, and we hope to get them vaccinated as the vaccines become available. And so that's really kind of the update on the vaccine side. And we're still closed right now, and at least to the public, but it's business as usual. We had a lot of good compliments from the public, at least 4, 5, 6 calls, and plus some neighbors complimenting the street department on how good a job they did. I thought they did an excellent job compared to some of the other communities that I drove through that night. Ours were treated properly, and salt truck came down my street. I know that, so I know they were everywhere, and so they did a really good job. And I think we have got a pretty good department down there, and they did as they always do. They come through in these types of situations.
Okay, thanks, Don. In these last couple of 3 minutes here, just to pass on a little information that you may or may not have seen in the latest news bulletins regarding the vaccine. There was a story today, I read it today actually, about 2 members of Congress who had the vaccine have been, since they had the vaccine, they were tested positive. And both the CDC and the WHO explained why and how that can happen. And primarily what they were saying was, this is not a magic bullet. You can't take the shot today and go back to business as usual tomorrow. And apparently that's what these 2 people may have done. But it's a work in progress in the sense that, especially right now, I think the 2 available vaccines out there require 2 shots. And they're usually anywhere from 21 days to 28 days apart. And even after the second shot, they are warning people that you still have another 3 to 4 weeks after that second shot before it takes effect, before you can start taking effect fully. So therefore, you should stay in safety mode. That is, wearing the mask, staying 6 feet apart, and all of the things that you were doing before you got the shot. Because apparently there are people out there who believe, now that I got that shot, even just the first one, I'm good. But that's not the case, I guess. And Rosalind, you probably help me on this one. I guess the, there's still some question as to whether or not people who have received the vaccine can transport it or get to other people. So you don't want to get the shots and then get out there and think, hey, let's go party. So Ms. Rosalind, is that pretty much it? What else can you tell us?
Yeah, basically, you want to continue to practice social distancing. You want to continue to wear your mask. And just to piggyback on Mr. Jones, it's very important that we ensure that the outreach comes out to our community, because oftentimes our residents may not be able to go to some of the sites. One of the sites is Anderson Center. Another site is where the Board of Election is. And so that's kind of far from us and for our residents. So we always need to advocate to make sure that we have at least the resources to encourage our community partners to come to Forest Park and set up a site in our community to make sure that our residents and our surrounding communities have access as well. And so we just need to advocate for that. And basically, if you get an opportunity to get the vaccine, please get it. I received mine last month, January the 16th. And so please consider getting that vaccine.
Yeah, and just I would say I know that Don and Andy, as well as Paul and Chief Jones and Jermaine, we're all looking for that spot where we can have an established center here that won't be just a hit and miss on and off, but will be a permanent center. And in talking to the people at the Department of Health, they are looking for someplace in the northern sector of the county, as Don said, and we're pushing very, very hard for that center to be located here in Forest Park. So
I know we only have a few minutes, but that's why it's so important that we have our own common space for our residents, especially we don't know what's going to happen years from now. And so having our own space where we don't have to kind of navigate and partner and try to get other people's facilities. And so we also have to look at that in the future. Like, we need our own space for our residents when things come up for that. And like I said, I did some vaccinations for the Cincinnati Health Department during their vaccination clinics. Myself and my students went. And so it's important to have a space that we can provide health services for the residents.
Thank you, Rosalind. Okay, Dana, whenever you're ready.
John,
Whatever you like.
go KC.
Okay, Dana, are we ready?
Yes, we are.
Okay, call to order City of Forest Park Council Meeting number 1368, February 1, 2021. I'm going to ask this evening that, how about Councilwoman Holt, would you say the prayer and we'll all just kind of go silently go along with you.
You want me to pray?
I want you to
With the pledge.
pledge. I
You
thought I
said
said pledge.
You said pledge.
Well, that's because it's you, Denise. You can pray
I
too.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. Okay, would the clerk please call the roll?
Brown,
Here.
Clark, Herbie,
Here.
Holt,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Moore,
Here.
Sylvester.
Yeah,
The record shows that we're all present and accounted for. We'll next move to next item, minutes. You should all gotten copies of the minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will then stand approved as presented. Item number 3 is proclamation. Every year for this month, we do proclaim that the month of February is Black History Month. Just briefly, it's also known as African American History Month, celebrated in many countries, obviously the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Ireland, and the Netherlands, and in several others. This month also is celebrated in many other countries, especially the countries in the islands by different names. Initially, it was called Black History Week and started in 1926 by Carter G. Woodson. And this was this week. Well, it was Black History Week, and the week was chosen because it contained the birthdays of both Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, being February the 12th and February 14th, respectively. Then after being called Black History Week for a number of years, it actually right here in Ohio, students at Kent State University started to celebrate the month of Black History Month. And initially, it was celebrated in January, and then they decided to celebrate it in February to coincide with Negro History Week. Actually, it is not like many of the things that we celebrate. It is not a holiday. It is one of those days that each year, by proclamation or by designation, the President of the United States has to declare that the month of February is Black History Month. Actually, he proclaims it to be African American History Month. So therefore, and that tradition is usually followed by a proclamation from governors and mayors of various cities. So to that end, as usual, we will proclaim the month of February as Black History Month, and we would ask all of our citizens to follow along the ideas of Carter Woodson. His basic idea was to have it as a time for not only to recognize, but to show the importance of contributions made by African Americans. So again, February this year, as in past years and in future years, will be proclaimed as Black History Month. And that will take care of our presentation. And we will move on to item number 4 on the agenda, which was communications from the public. Mr. Jones, did you get anything from anybody?
No, I've not received anything from any individuals who had any desire to comment on anything on tonight's agenda or anything that would come up.
Okay, well, then we will move to item number 5, reports of standing committees. First of those being Community Development Committee, Councilwoman Dr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do not have a report at this time, but I would like to congratulate one of our Wooden Woods graduate, Mike Edwards. His team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, are going to the Super Bowl, and he's been a resident of our community and graduated from Wooden Woods. And he is family. He is my cousin, and so we're very proud of him and his parents for raising such a wonderful young man. And so we're excited, and we wish them luck, and hopefully one of our former residents can bring home a Super Bowl championship or Super Bowl win. And so we just want to acknowledge that, we do have youth that are doing great things in our community, and we want to acknowledge them.
Good, thank you. Any questions for Councilwoman Moore? Councilwoman Holt, not you. I have no items on the agenda for you for the work session. Do you have any to add?
I don't know if this is something that can be in the future, but just to piggyback during the work session and looking at a common space for the residents, it truly is important. And I think that we need to, as council, look at that and start that conversation again. I know it's been on the table several times, and we kind of missed out on another facility that went to another community. But I really feel that we need to start having those conversations because it will impact the health and wellness of our community. Also, it will improve socialization in our community, and it gives a common space for us to gather. And a community of our size, it's due. And so we need to start having strong conversations, what that looks like, either from private sector, public sector. So we really need to have that conversation, especially as we're getting new families in our community. They're wanting more, and we want to keep people in our community. And so that's, I wanted to bring that up. I didn't know if next work session would be the best time or just starting the conversation.
I think it has to be an ongoing conversation. So rather than
Okay.
just put it on any one work session, I think you're right. It needs to be an ongoing conversation that would include, obviously, other stakeholders.
Thank you.
Next committee report would be Human Resources Committee, Councilwoman Holt.
I do not have a human resource report, but I would too like to congratulate the Wynwood young man, and I wish him luck next year. That will conclude my report.
I expected that. Thank you. I have no items on the agenda for you. Do you have any to add?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Okay, and Councilwoman Holt, again, last few meetings I've had some reason or another I've gone offline. If I should do that, then you would just proceed with the meeting.
Okay.
All right. Next committee report, Mr. Brown.
I had a question for Councilwoman Holt.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I noticed that there's a new form that's online. I think it may be a Google form for people that are interested in volunteering.
You went out. I didn't hear you.
I said, I noticed that there was it appeared to be a new form for members of the community that wanted to volunteer for committees. It's electronic based.
Okay.
Okay, the case that if someone has sent in, someone had sent in a form that was printed out and completed it in November. When was there a changeover that maybe it didn't get converted, or do they need to redo the electronic?
Diana was telling me, Sally, that she got 2 people. I did not get them unless they were sent to my work email, which would have gone to spam. And I have not checked my spam mail. I would check that to see if I got any, but Diana said she did get the 2.
I just got them this week.
Yeah, I did as well. I saw 2 applications.
Councilwoman Holt, why don't you touch base with Clerk of Council on that, within the next few days, and perhaps get some answer back to Councilwoman Clark, okay?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do not have any committee reports at this time. I do want to thank all the council members who reached out to me while I was recuperating. I'm in much better health now. I do have a slightly persistent cough that just it will not leave. So I do want to encourage all of our residents to continue to distance, wear your gloves. But also I do want to thank our city workers in the salt trucks. There were a number of residents in surrounding communities that had a lot to say about how their roads were not clean. And I'm thankful to say that we did not have that issue. At least my road was clean as well. So, I'm sure that is a testament to Don's hard work, but I do want to thank all our city employees who get those salt trucks out there and, just keep up the good work. But I have no items to add to the agenda also.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Brown? Hearing none, the next report is Public Improvement and Facilities, Mr. Sylvester.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just only touch on what we followed up with our work session that we'll take a vote with the public right of ways on the fees for this 2021 year. So we'll have that subject during the process of this council meeting. But other than that, that's it.
Any questions for Mr. Sylvester? And I have no items on the agenda for you, sir. Anything to add?
I know, sir.
Next report is Public Safety Committee, Councilwoman Clark.
Thank you. The report that I have to give, I'd like to share with council first at our work session, our next work session, regarding the different meetings that we've had, just to update everybody and let everyone know what what the goal is and what we're headed toward and how that's going to end up, looking in the support that we're going to need to give in order to achieve some of the goals that we need to for public safety. Outside of that, there was a recognition for one of our officers. I'm sorry.
I think Denise, I'm gone again.
No, you're on.
No, he's not on. He's frozen.
He's frozen.
Oh, he's frozen.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
So
didn't.
you can,
well, I
You can
heard him.
you can carry on, Chelsea. He said,
Okay,
I'm
now.
gone. He said, I'm gone again. Yes. you can
Okay,
carry on.
all right. And then just lastly, I too absolutely support what Councilwoman Moore has said. We have tried to have this conversation repeatedly about community space. And yes, it is high time that it be on the agenda for agendas to come. Perhaps when we go into this next work session, though, we do have a very clear outline in terms of how we want to bring it to the table and the exact stakeholders we need to invite, and then begin having additional meetings for that purpose. So absolutely agree with that and support that. That's all.
Okay. For whatever reason, as usual, I was gone again. Now, just so you all know, and I don't
Your
know if any-
bandwidth.
and I don't know if any of you have had this problem, but I've had, and Rob's looking into it, I've had some problems with my pad. The latest problem I had is the keyboard stopped working, and Rob has that now as well. So I might be, he said that they'd see if it can be fixed or repaired, and if not, he'd have to get me another one. But for about the last month or so, for whatever reason, I black out, and my, the visual part, the keyboard doesn't work. And frankly, it's a relatively new one. So anyway, Councilwoman Clark, you have any item for the, you gotta give us items that you gotta put on for the next work session, right? You'll get those to Sally.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And also thank you for all the get well sentiments. I appreciate it, you guys. It's not a pretty virus. I was underestimating it, I'll be honest. And I'm pretty healthy, so it's taken a while, but I appreciate the concern. And yeah, like Aaron said, Councilman Aaron, you guys got to really stay safe. And I thought I was doing everything possible, and it crept in with the kid.
Well, we're glad you're back. Next report, Ways and Means, Councilman Herbert.
A couple things. One, piggyback on what some others have said about our road crews. And I will say that this is nothing new for us. We have always been outstanding in that area for as long as I can remember. And that's credit to our leadership in both at the top and also in our Public Works Department. The second thing is I had postponed talking about economic development from last council because people wanted to get to the Super Bowl. And so I did want to talk about the excellent report that Paul Brin did in our department reports a couple weeks ago. In the past, we have completed, or in the, not we, but there have been projects completed in Forest Park and in the process of finishing up. With the Kroger, completed a multi-million renovation, keeping 170 jobs in the city. Fax and Machines and Magna Machines also completed significant expansions of their Northland area operations, investing $6 million and keeping more than 300 jobs here. And Emeritus completed a $10 million office project in Carolyn Park, keeping Emeritus and here and bringing in Liberty Mutual in 2 buildings for close to retaining and creating 1,000 jobs. LaRosa's also is investing $1 million to acquire and renovate a vacant building in Civic Center Plaza on Hamilton Avenue. That will bring in 25 full-time and 20 part-time jobs to Forest Park. And the city's open discussion with 2 manufacturing prospects that are considering relocation in Forest Park. One would build a 50 to 60,000 square foot facility. And the second is considering purchasing and renovating a vacant building on Northland. There also are some grant works. The staff wrote a letter of support to the state of Ohio for a local company that's considering renovating a building in Crossways Industrial Park. And the city also successfully pursued a $100,000 grant from the state of Ohio to facilitate improvements in Central Park. Up for the upcoming year, we're still trying to do something with the Promenade Shopping Center to secure funding and financing for that renovation. The Hamilton Avenue redevelopment is also a priority. We're also, and the other corridor that's a priority is the Northland priority. We're also very happy about the relationship with the library to bring in the next gen library in the corner of Sharon and Waycross, which we hope will begin this year or next year. And so there's been a lot of economic development going on despite the pandemic. And for that, we're very happy. And that would conclude my report.
Any questions from anybody?
Has Kroger finished their total renovation?
I think, yes, I think they're done inside as well as outside.
I think they're done.
I think they're done.
Well, that's a question we can ask Paul.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Okay, I have no items on the agenda for you. Do you have any to add?
No, sir.
Next report is intergovernmental relations and communications. I have no report. I would answer any questions if there are any. Next item is the mayor's report. I think we've already talked about all of the things that I would have had to say, except in Don and or Chelsea. I'm trying to recall. I know that one of our current police officers and one of our former police officers just got cited for a major award. Though I think one of them was Corey. I don't know, Don, do you happen to have that or Chelsea off the top of your head who those were?
Yeah, I tried to start the mention, but I totally forgot the name. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry. I couldn't bring it up on my screen.
There's actually two
Jacob.
police officers and one former police officer. And again, we've talked about it today. We're going to bring a proclamation for city council. Essentially what they did is they received they solved a heinous crime. There was a serial rapist but in terms of their cooperation with the rest of the county, they brought in many and worked with many other cities and jurisdictions, and that cooperation you don't see a lot, but it's what really helps with solving these types of crimes. And we don't need to create silos, and we brought in the help we need, and we brought in people that knew things and coordinated, and they received an award from the county for actually this case and how it was handled. So we're very proud of them, and it reflects very strongly and rightfully so on the rest of the department, because that's the type of culture that we try and create. It comes from the top down with the Chief Arns, and it goes to the rest of the department. So this is just a recognition from their peers on the great job they did, and and we appreciate it greatly. There will be
Thank
a
you.
proclamation coming with their names on it.
Very good. Thank you. Next item would be item number 7, the report of the city manager, Mr. Jones.
Well, I started right there. That'll be a good one. Continue off of that. And then getting back to what everybody said earlier, some folks said earlier, there is a history of good street service here in our community, and our departments take it very, very proudly. And it goes really from historically, it's passed on from manager to manager to manager to manager. And I don't mean me. I mean the people down at Public Works, the Public Works directors, Public Works managers, and all the employees down there. And they take this very, they take it, this is their job, and they're very proud of doing it a good job. And we received a lot of compliments from not only citizens, but from citizens of other communities who maybe didn't have as good a job as done in their communities as we did in ours. And I was out Saturday night and Friday night, and they were visible and did an excellent job and maintained the streets, and nothing but respect and kudos for the people. We had to call them out, and they were out several hours doing the job in the middle of the night. So congratulations to James and Steve, who James ran the crews, and Steve is a public works director as well. I guess that I'll just not go on and go on, but we are moving forward with economic development. We're actively and proactively working on many projects right now, and hopefully we'll have some good news over the next couple of months for some things that I think will be transformative, at least the beginning, that the citizens can wrap their heads around and take great pride in. And when they see it coming up, they'll believe it. And so obviously we don't put the cart before the horse, but you work real hard at a lot of different things and a lot of different projects, and hopefully you're really successful with a couple of them. And that's what we're doing. And Paul is doing an excellent job, and he's really busy. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer any questions anybody might have.
Any question for city manager? Hearing
Oh,
none.
One
Go
more
ahead,
thing, I should do this. Getting back to some of the vaccinations and so forth, we talked about trying to get the northern center here for vaccinations. We talked about that earlier in the work session, but we hoped in the mayor's being proactive down at the county and really pushing, and we're gonna find a spot out here that we can offer the county to do these things, even if it's hopefully, obviously our buildings are available, but we need larger facility for them. But one of the things is that everybody should try and get the vaccine when they can get it. Get on the list that you can. There's many lists. Get on every list that you can possibly get on. Maintain your social distance, wear your mask, wash your hands, do all the things you've always done, all the way up past the 3rd shot or 4th shot or 10th shot. How many shots you have to take? Keep doing it. 2 shots. But there is I would want to point out our fire department put with Waycross Media, and I want to give them a good shout out as well with Dana and the rest of the crew there. They made about a 1-hour video with our fire department and a local a physician who is really expert on the virus, and it's really good. It's airing on Waycross. It's also available on YouTube, but it'll answer a lot of your questions. This public can go look at it, and if they really have any concerns and questions, you've got our fire department guys that know a lot, but we also brought in an expert to talk about, a physician as well.
Dr. Moncrief.
Yes, Dr. Moncrief. And we recommend that, take an hour of your time if you're really concerned and you have some second thoughts. This could probably help you answer most, if not all, of your questions. So it's a public service, and it's kudos to Waycross and kudos to our fire department for putting, and Dr. Moncrief as well for donating her time. But it's a really good video, and I think it'll help the community as well. So we'll have that on our website, a link to that, and make sure that it's easily available.
Any questions for our city manager? Dana, Don, just Don, I know Dana, I believe that later this week, you're going to be doing a state of the city.
Yes, for the Chamber of Commerce.
Right. So if I would encourage our community to tune into that and hear all of what's going on in Forest Park and what's planned to be going on in the future. Councilwoman Clark, I think you had a question or a comment. I think.
Sorry, it's the COVID brand and all that stuff I said. So I know that some of the residents were just concerned about the McDonald's they've driven past Northland. I know that we're aware of it, but if you'd like to just shed a little bit of light on them for those that are listening, so they just have a little bit of ease.
Well, it is the one that's being torn down. It's torn down. We've asked them and actually issued an order through our building department to not only remove the building, but remove all of the concrete and so forth, so that it's not just another hunk of concrete sitting there. So visually, we're trying to they have to plant grass and maintain it. So visually, it'll look good while it's empty, and it'll be something that is on that whole corridor there. Particularly, the city owns 2 pieces of property almost directly catty corner to that across the street, and we've met with developers as recently as last week with regards to doing something not only at our property but with the tower there, and that bleeding over and helping in to do the other side of the street as well. So right now there are no plans that we're aware of. There's not going to be another McDonald's going up there that we know of, at least right now. But we're actively trying to fill that spot as we are the rest of that whole side of the street.
Did McDonald's own that property, or were they leasing that property?
I believe they owned it. And
according to how they work, that when they tear one down or when they close one, they always tear it down and remove it, which is nice. We had other that didn't look right.
Well, they basically asked, we asked them to tear it down, and obviously they volunteered to take it down, but we asked them to go ahead and get the blacktop and everything and take it down so that it's basically ready to go as for redevelopment. And they didn't question that. They just wanted to know what the specs were. So we hate to see it go. I went there a lot because it's close to my house. But it's an opportunity to do that whole corner. The Chase Bank, is being actively marketed, and it's a nice building. And then there's a significant amount of blacktop down that street that we hope to redevelop into something that's not a parking lot.
Okay, we will move next to item number 8, other reports. First of those being the law director, Mr. Wyckoff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only thing I'll report on is I provided an opinion to our clerk of courts, Julie Sheets, regarding the pause or stay on speedy trials. That was a very frequently asked question about when we get back to court and how does this affect the speedy trial requirements for criminal and traffic cases. And I provided that opinion that we are on a pause. Our Attorney General, Mr. Yost, had given a specific opinion regarding that pause. So we're in good shape there. Other than that, that would be the end of my report.
Questions for law director? Hearing none, we go to other reports with clerk of council's board.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do not have a report this evening.
Any questions for clerk of council? Hearing none, before we go to item number 9 on the new business, I just want to take a moment here to offer the councils and the cities and my personal condolences to former Councilmember David Lives and his family. Dave served the city of Forest Park in many, many capacities over the years. I can't think of any of the committees that Dave was not on at one time or another. Dave was on council probably starting about 1999. He would have served close to well over 15 years or more on council. And for those of you who had a chance to know Dave, I don't know of any person anywhere that I could say was as nice as Dave Lives. I don't, in all of the years that I knew Dave Lives, I can't ever recall him actually having anything bad to say about anybody. He was always joking, and one of his favorite greetings to you was always, well, as long as I'm alive and breathing, I'm doing okay. So I will personally miss Dave, and again, I want to say to his family, we're very grateful for the time that Dave gave to the city. Thank you. So with that, we'll move to item number 9, new business. Is there a motion? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I would move to suspend the rules requiring the reading in full on 2 separate days and read for the first time by title only, ordinance number 01-2021 and 02-2021.
Second.
And moved and seconded that we suspend the rules requiring the reading in full on 2 separate days and read for the first time by title only ordinances number 01-2021 and 02-2021. Is there any discussion?
Just posted as required, and I will remind residents or people newly tuning in that if the ordinances are posted 6 days prior to the meeting, we can suspend the reading in full, and that's been done.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll on the motion to suspend?
Brown,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Herbie,
Yes,
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester.
Yes.
Motion to suspend passes 7-0. The first item under new business, item A, is ordinance number 01-2021. The clerk please read this ordinance by title only.
Ordinance number 01-2021, an ordinance amending chapter 34, employee fringe benefits of the codified ordinances of the city of Forest Park.
I think this is not voting on tonight, right?
Correct. First reading.
First reading, so we would then place this on the agenda for the next work session and or council meeting. We'll move then to item B, ordinance number 02-2021. Would the clerk please read this ordinance by title only?
Ordinance number 02-2021, an ordinance amending section 156.14 of the codified ordinances of the city of Forest Park as it relates to fees for work in public rights of way and declaring an emergency.
Is there a motion, Mr. Sylvester?
Yes, I motion that we would adopt the ordinance number 02-2021.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance number 02-2021. Is there any discussion, Mr. Sylvester?
In discussion that the annual right-of-way utility fees for 2021 and the registration fees for 2020, they've been processed per PUCO order. And this information is gathered every year and is associated with the managing of the right-of-way locations and utility companies working in Forest Park. These fees, they vary from year to year. And once those fees are calculated, approval has to be in order, and invoices are sent out from that matter to collect the payments. The updates for 2021 fees have been included in this ordinance for 2021. The new fee permit fee is $12.11, and the regulation fee is $15.60.
Registration fee.
Oh, I'm sorry, registration fee, $15.60. Thank you. And with that, I motion that we adopt the ordinance.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Clark,
Yes.
Herbie,
yes,
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes,
Moore,
Yes.
Sylvester,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
the ordinance is adopted 7-0. Is there any further business to come before the body? Any further business? As usual, before the end of the week, you will get a notice from the clerk announcing whether or not we would have a work session on next Monday, or whether that work session would be moved to the following Monday prior to the meeting. There's no other business to come before the body. Councilwoman Holt, I need to speak with you. Give me a call, please.
I will.
Any
And
other
John?
business to come?
Yes,
John, I'm glad we're on the same team this time, because I would hate to see you lose twice.
well, I hope, yeah, I hope that young Mr. Edwards has a great game, but just come up 1 point short, that's all.
All right. If there's no further business, then the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all, and please be safe.